Hi, everyone. So, as you can see, our classroom's taken down a little bit behind me, but I thought you'd like to still see it and have our read aloud happen in the class today. Just like our book yesterday, today we are reading Vanishing Culture's Himalaya by Jan Reynolds. Now, Jan Reynolds met this family when she was hiking and skiing in one of the tallest mountain ranges in the world, which are the Himalayas. This story is going to be about this girl named Yangshi. She lives in the Himalaya region where the world's highest mountains are found. Now, if I look at the back of this book, it shows me where that is, and it even has to zoom in for me to show how it's split up. The Himalayan mountains are split between China and India. So this area of China where Mount Everest is kind of split is in Tibet, and below here is Nepal. So we are going to learn about Yangshi and her experience in the Himalayas. And I want you to think about how is it similar and how is it different from the experience of the people in the Sahara. And you'll respond to that at the end of this. I see different animals. Let's see. As the moon rises over the Himalaya, the highest mountains on earth, a young Sherpa girl named Yangshi begs her father for a story. She sits in the lap, safe and warm by the kitchen fire, and he begins his tale. This starts out very similar to the last book. Long ago, your great-grandfather traveled. Let's see if you can see the pictures better here. Your great-grandfather traveled over the high mountains to our own little village of Namche Bazaar, here in Nepal. They came from the land of Tibet, bringing things like tea and salt with them. They were called traders because that was how they made their living. See this place on the mountain? Back in Tibet, your great-grandfather filled bags with salt and loaded them on the backs of his strong yaks. Leading his animals, he crossed the high mountains, and when he came to our village, he traded his salt at the big Saturday market for things he needed, just as we will tomorrow. There are the yaks. Soon Yangshi is fast asleep. She dreams of the time when her great-grandfather came from Tibet to Nepal, the home of the Sherpas. Early in the morning, Yangshi wakes to the smell of rice cooking. Her mother is already making a rice drink that is popular in the mountains. She will trade what she makes at the market for things the family needs. While Yangshi's father and brother are still sleeping, her mother gives Yangshi a cup of warm, milky tea, or chai. Outside, the thin mountain air is cold, but Yangshi is snug and warm in her bed, watching her mother. As the sun climbs the hill, people from all over gather. They will trade the items they brought with them for the things they need at the Saturday market. The people from the lowlands carry woven bamboo baskets filled with rice and fruit, while the Tibetans come from the highlands with their yaks carrying salt and tea and more. Oh, fascinating photo. The market is outdoors where people can open up their baskets of food, cloth, and gifts for everyone to see. The market is also a place where people can talk with old friends and make new ones. Yangshi's older sister, Sonam, goes to the market with her mother while Yangshi is still in bed. Sometimes their mother uses Nepali dollars called rupees to buy food and clothing. Other times, like today, she barters or trades her homemade rice drink for things the family needs as well as sweet treats like bananas for Yangshi and Sonam. Some days, Yangshi's father walks the narrow streets of their village to a place called a monastery where wise men called monks live. The wisest monk of all is called a lama. Yangshi's father takes along some rice and some of the drink Yangshi's mother makes. These are special gifts he will give the Lama when he asks for a blessing of good fortune for his family. Yangshi and his sister follow their father so they can spin the prayer wheels outside the monastery. They believe each time a wheel spins completely around, they will be blessed with good fortune. Yangshi and her sister especially like the large prayer wheel inside the monastery because it is painted with bright pictures, telling stories of long ago. These are some of the prayer wheels. Outside the monastery, as the stones with prayers carved on them by the people of the village. While Yangshi and her sister are looking at the prayer stones, they see a woman carrying a heavy load of water buffalo hides. That's the woman with water buffalo hides. The woman carries a load of hides on her back using a strap that goes over her head. Sherpas have carried heavy loads this way for a very long time. The woman is carrying the hides over the mountains all the way to Tibet, where they will be used to make boots. Yangshi and her sister watch the woman go, remembering that Tibet is the land their great-grandfather came from. Yangshi and her sister only stay at the monastery for a short time. Their mother needs them to help with the many daily chores. Together, they will pick lettuce from the garden and wash it in the village spring. Look at that beautiful spring. Wow. There are also clothes to be washed. Even little brother helps, although today he makes a mess. I know some of us can relate to that. The floor of the house must be swept too, and the wool from their sheep must be carded so it will be ready for their mother to spin into yarn. She will use the yarn to make things like sweaters and mittens for her father. She may barter some of the things she makes at the next Saturday market. You can see some of the wool ready. After they have finished their chores, Yangshi and her sisters like to play in the big rock behind their house. Just like the smaller stones at the monastery, this rock is carved with the prayers of the village people. Yangshi's sister has to help her climb to the top of their special rock. People from other countries often come to Nepal to climb the high mountains, and they sometimes hire Yangshi's father to help them. His yaks carry their food, tents, and supplies. Yangshi's father has even taken his yaks to the highest peak in the world, Mount Everest. Wow. Yaks are very important to Yangshi and her village. They carry heavy loads over rough, rocky ground, and they provide food and milk. Yangshi and her sisters like to help their father keep watch over the yaks when he takes them to graze in the pasture, just outside their village. Sometimes their father lets the Yangshi and her sisters have a short ride on their favorite yak before they herd the animals home. Some villagers use their yaks to carry crops, like potatoes from their gardens in Nepal, all the way to Tibet. The yaks can easily walk around boulders and follow the rocks trail that leads from the village up the valley and through the high mountains. Before the journey begins, Nepal and Tibet is long and slow. Many villagers come among the rocks to rest along the way. The yaks don't seem to mind the trip. They appear content to follow each other, walking the old trade route. Like the rest of the village, Yangshi is looking forward to the yearly Himalayan festival called Mani Rimdu. People will come from far away to the part of this exciting event. The monks gather at the monastery to prepare for the celebration. In the courtyard, 2 monks drop tiny bits of hand-colored river sand to create beautiful pictures inside a circle. This sand drawing represents the circle of life and is called a mandala. We've learned about mandalas. The most beautiful mandala is inside the candlelit monastery. At the end of the festival, the sand will be poured back in the river. By returning the sand, the monks will show that the flow of life is always continuous. Masked dancers are a fun part of the festival. In brightly colored costumes, the monks act out stories about how to be good, helpful, and caring. Yangshi and her sister love their mountains and are proud to be from the Himalaya. To everyone they meet, they give the traditional Sherpa greeting, Namaste. It means, I salute the life within you. So I want you to let me know what was the same and different about the experience of this character living in the Himalayas and the people in the Sahara. You might want to compare the animals that they use, what they eat, or some of the traditions they have with their family and what celebrations they use. Can't wait to see what you respond.